Hey guys, this is Bruce, and today I want to talk to you about PE, or Physical and Environmental Controls for the Nist 800 standard. First, let me tell you about a little bit about my background. So, I actually started off in the military doing physical security. I was a security forces member in the military. That means I did air-based ground defense. At the time, we trained with the Army, the Marines, and stuff like that. So I'm well versed in physical security because I did it for like 5 years straight. We protected military aircraft facilities. We did air-based ground defense. We did personnel security, all types of security. So I'm very familiar with all sides of security. And then when I got out of the military, I was doing just purely technical work, and then I had to start doing cybersecurity. Actually, I did in the Air Force for a while too. I cross-trained from being a police officer, air-based ground defense, security forces member, onto computer operations, and then I was doing security compliance for systems and doing I did a little bit of network security, a little bit of help desk stuff, things like that, first tier type of troubleshooting, things like that. And then when I got out of the military and as a contractor, I started doing a lot of compliance, security compliance type stuff. So I know the technical side of cybersecurity, and I know the physical security side of protecting the assets. So that's my experience with it, and I've got a very intimate understanding and feeling about the security. But I want to tell you a little bit about what goes into the controls. So first of all, let me show you where we're at here. Where is physical security in the Nist 800? So here it is right here among the families. This is kind of an older view of the families. They're missing some physical privacy, security stuff in there. But this is good enough. I just want to show you where the families are in the Nist 800. So in my experience, physical security, and this might just be because I've been doing it for so long, is one of the easiest, most straightforward control families. Because either you have physical security or you don't. There's really no in between a lot of times with the actual controls. Here you have some of the controls actually. There's 23 of them. We couldn't fit them all on the screen here, but here's some of the physical security controls. And what you'll notice is that it's physical and environmental. What that means is not only do we have to have fencing and have locked doors and window alarms and stuff like that, but environment. The focus of the environment is the humidity, is there fire suppression systems, is there emergency lighting, things like that. Is the environment around the actual information system is essentially the not only protection, physical protection of the system itself, but the surrounding environment. Because obviously if it's too humid in there, it can actually take out the system. If a fire erupts in there and you don't have any fire suppression stuff in there, that can disrupt the actual physical system itself. So it's physical protection and environment as well. And these controls start off just like all controls with a policy and procedure, which we'll talk about. Before we get into the controls, what I want to talk to you about is how this all works. You need a general understanding of how this works. You might be thinking, well, it's just fences, it's just a security guard. There's more layers to that. It's called defense in depth. Not only are you going to have key management systems on key card readers when you're going in and out of the facility, you're going to have access control to the doors and alarm systems, smart cameras all over the place, and maybe a roaming patrol going inside and outside. But you want to think of it in terms of defense in depth. This is one of the things that was beaten into my head when I was a security forces member, because we'd have an outer perimeter, the fencing, maybe some sensors to see if somebody was coming in, like a physical intrusion detection system. You'd have maybe barbed wire. You might have guard dogs, K9 units. You have roaming patrols and vehicles on the outside perimeter. And then you'd have, in the inside perimeter, you'd have maybe another set of guards. Somebody's roaming inside of there from time to time. And then once you get close to the facility, you have things like camera systems. You have things like lighting, proper lighting. You have things like access control points, of course, doors, making sure that the loading docks are protected, as well as the windows are protected. You have cameras in strategic areas, and you're controlling the flow of people coming in the perimeter and also into the actual facility itself, of course, and you're protecting the inner sanctum of all the assets. The assets mean your server with the important data on it. Assets also can be people, your security operations center, your actual operators who are running your systems, running your mission, and all that kind of stuff. So defense in depth is what you want to approach this whole thing on. Not just the outer perimeter and the parking lot, but the actual doors and windows, obviously, the loading docks, the camera systems. All of this stuff is interlaced to make a complete picture of defense for the organization and, of course, for the systems themselves. When you approach physical security, if you approach it like that, your head is on swivel. You're not just looking at the windows and the obvious things, the windows and doors, and do people have badges on, things like that. You're also, from the time you actually enter the campus itself, you're already thinking about security. What could a person exploit just even at the garage gate, the actual garage area where people are parking, at the parking gates, at the actual perimeter by the vegetation? Is the vegetation too high? Is it covering the fence to where somebody could sneak over in the vegetation over the fence and come right in? You're thinking of all this stuff and how it all interacts with one another, and that's called defense in depth. Those are the things that they taught us when I was in security forces to look for when we were doing physical security. And those things, it didn't change when I went into cybersecurity. It's the same. You're looking for stuff like that. Now, one of the first things that you start off with is the actual policy and procedure. And this is one of the first things that we're going to talk about in the next session. If you like this style of teaching and you want to see more about the security controls and how to document them, go ahead and check out Risk Management Framework, ISO Security Controls and Documentation, where we're breaking down each one of the families. And right now we're only partially through this, so this is the time to buy before the price goes up. As we add more controls, of course, we have to charge more for this. So go ahead and check it out. It's at ConvoCourses.com.